everybody, welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to be talking really about relationships and loving yourself before you get married or even get into a...
Just make things permanent.
Yeah, before you get into a serious committed relationship and how important that is. So if you're interested, keep watching. Okay, so you were talking about this. You were saying, well, first of all, when you are dating, see,
I'm single.
Yeah, I'm single. We're single.
So I'm not married. I'm not making any judgments on marriage because I know I've never been married. So
yeah, look,
don't come for us. You know what y'all talking about. You know what I mean? Like, we know it. We're not married.
People will say that too. But here's the thing: is that I love relationships, right? But I like when they're healthy.
But I am happily single, and I can talk about that.
Right, I am happily single, but I do want to start dating again. I want to get back out there. You know, we're obviously, you guys watch our channel. You know, we're kind of in a transitional time of our life, but the transition is about to end, y'all.
It sure is.
It's about to end
this year.
Because I'm ready to get
down.
Married.
Today's the first. Is today the first?
I'm ready to get married.
Have a relationship. Get the hell out of here.
Right. And yeah, so I'm just kind of ready to get back into dating and you know, all of that, and be in a relationship. I can't, I mean, people say they don't want to be in relationships. I think that's just for a time. I just think that we're meant to have companions in life.
Yeah,
I think humans are meant to be with
Who doesn't want to be married? I do.
Right. But I feel like a lot of times we are rushing into situations when we are not whole. And so I can speak on experience with this because I know that really all of my relationships,
I can definitely
all my relationships, I was not whole, and so it turned out to be a hot mess. Right. All right, and it ended in me being single. Hello, single. So yeah, so I think that when you jump into something, like in my opinion, when you jump into a relationship, when you're not feeling great about yourself, you're going to settle. Like, do you think you're going to settle, or you think that
when you jump into a relationship? Say that again.
So when you jump into a relationship and you're not okay with yourself, or you're not whole in some way, that you end up settling. Is that
right?
Do you kind of think that?
I think like people, when you're not whole, yeah. I think when you're not whole, well, I guess what that would mean is, I think that when you have issues that you don't fix, then you then you end up dating your issues.
You do.
You know what I mean? So if you are someone who has been abused, you date abusers.
Yeah.
If you're someone who doesn't like being alone, you'll date someone who's willing to be with you, not willing
just to fill that.
Doesn't matter
spot,
if they love you or not. They're just willing to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're a woman who has children and you feel like you're not the pick of the litter because you have children by another man, then you'll start putting up with stuff that you probably wouldn't put up with if you didn't have children.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you are someone who's over 40 or 35, you know, 50, then you start thinking like, because you're not young anymore, that you need to somehow, to fit in society, you need to hurry up and you know, find someone to feel like you're a part of the society. And I feel like you're a part of what's really, you know,
like just part of it.
Like some people feel like that some people feel like they have to be married to feel that, to show people that they're loved.
Yeah, they do.
Because if you're a certain age and you're not married, whether you're a man or a woman, by the way, if you're a certain age and you're not married, a lot of times people feel like, I don't think people feel this way. I just think people feel this way inside. I don't think like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think I don't think other people are looking at you like that. I just think that you feel that way.
Right. And
because especially if everybody around you is married or in some sort of relationship. I felt that way with you when you were engaged. When we were in our 20s. Isn't that crazy? As your 20s, you really feel you've got all this time and you really think you got to be married in your 20s. But I did. When you were engaged, I felt like, because everyone always compared us, I always felt like, well, now I have to be in a relationship. So I was in a bad relationship just to say I was in a relationship.
Yeah, and I was, so when I was engaged, I've been engaged twice. The first time I was engaged, I was way too young, and I wasn't really marriage-minded at the time, but I wanted to be in a relationship, so it's kind of like a selfish time for me, because I felt like the person that I was with, he was a marriage-minded person, and I kind of, you know, wasted a lot of time with that one. You know what I mean? Because his time too, by the way. That's what happens when you're not whole. Let me just say this real quick. When you're not whole, I can admit this, but when you're not whole and you get into relationships, you end up wasting other people's time too. You know what I mean? You'll waste someone's time, and I believe I did that. You know, I mean, obviously me and this person are good now and we're fine, but because, you know, he did some things in a relationship too, but this is my personal responsibility. Like, I think that you have to feel like you know who you are. That way you'll just be like a compliment to the person you're with. But when you're not whole and you're not happy with yourself, what ends up happening is that you try to fit in to whatever society is saying that you're supposed to fit into.
But you did the right thing, though, because you didn't marry him.
I didn't marry him.
You went ahead and moved to New York, so you chose yourself. You didn't chose just being with someone. He wasn't a bad guy. He just wasn't your guy. You know what I mean? And you knew that. So the bad thing would have been, if, you know, even at that age, you thought, I don't want to get married. You know, I'm not ready for this. You know what I mean? And I think you said that. I did. You know, I'm not ready. But I've been proposed to. But the guy that proposed, I didn't like him. You know what I mean? And I was young, you know. You know what I mean? And but I didn't want to marry him because I just wasn't attracted to him. I was still attracted to men who treat me bad. So he treated me well.
See, but that was, that's what I'm saying. When you're not home, this is what you do.
So you go chasing after people who, like I say, you date your issues. You know what I mean? Until you fix your issues, you will date your issues.
I think that when you jump into like marriage or like a committed relationship, specifically marriage though, I'm really talking specifically about marriage, and you're just you know that the relationship should not go to marriage yet. Like I mean, I don't want to generalize, but I feel like the people that I know that are now divorced or going through a divorce, or, you know, was it a split, you know, a separation, you know, they always say, you know, there was something about it that I knew I shouldn't have done this. It's just that I was at a time in my life where, you know, some people have kids and they feel like, you know, this guy wants me. He wants me. I have kids. What other man's going to want me? And I have, you know, X amount of kids. Even if it's one child. You know what I mean? One child, 2, 3, whatever. I know people who feel like, well, this one wants me, so I'll just I'll try to make this work. And that's like the worst, probably to me, I think one of the worst things you can do is try to make something work that's not fitting. You know?
Well, I mean, our mom, you know, she told me earlier in life that, you know, it's hard to you know, it's hard to raise kids alone. And she's like, and it's not so much that you know, that she says, it's almost like you just need help. And I can understand that. You know what I mean? She had two children. We're only a year apart, so we were little at the same time. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like I was older and I could take care of you while she was doing that. It was like we were both only a year apart. So we were little at the same time, and we kind of were almost twins. That kind of is everything. We matched everything. You know, she always dressed us the same and everything. So we were little girls at the same time. We went into high school at the same time, middle school. We moved. You know what I mean? So it's like she was really doing it all by herself. And I could see her. I can see that aspect of it, especially because she was a young mother. She wasn't like a woman in our 40s. Like, you know, I could say that if I had a child right now and I wasn't married and I was a single mother, because I'm in my 40s, I would have a different look on it. Because I'm older and I'm wiser and I've lived longer. But if you're only 20-something, and you haven't lived very long, I can see that you're making decisions of marriage based on
finances and
just you know what I mean. And a lot of women do that. You know what I mean. And so you're right. You know, but even like when you're saying about, you know, specifically marriage, I would say even not marriage, even if you're just in a wrong place, because like you said before, you being in a long relationship, even if you're not married, is a waste of your time. Don't waste your time. Like, I think I spent a lot of time with losers. Man, I have to say I was a loser too, though. Well, I can't just call them losers. I mean, no, I'm serious. Like, I can't just call them losers. I know, because when I think of the kind of girl I was before, I can't even believe some of the things I used to do. You know what I mean? Some of the things I used to put up with. You know what I mean? So I would have to say I was the loser too, and I attracted losers. You know what I mean?
I think we're so good for blaming the other, right? When relationships are just a hot mess, and you know they're a hot mess. It's just kind of a ticking time bomb waiting just to be all messed up. you're quick to blame.
Right.
You know, like that guy's a loser, that girl's a loser or whatever. It's like, no, but okay.
And they might have been.
They might have been, but it's a responsibility of taking your own personal responsibility. And I have to admit, though, even like when I was younger, but not even that much younger. So I'm saying younger. I mean, 20s, of course, we all trying to learn our 20s. But even when I was in my 30s, I was still
doing the same
thing.
Well, now it's funny because in my 30s, I quit dating altogether.
Yeah, you did. And then
I literally spent years single.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I went to a place where I feared men.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because now, because I spent so much time dating people who hurt me, because I allowed it. I didn't think so at the time, but because I allowed so much pain. By the time I got into my mid 30s, I just really kind of hated men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They frightened me a little bit because I felt like I was giving my heart and I was getting hurt.
Right.
And so I got afraid to open up, because you know me, it's hard for me to open up anyway.
Right.
So when I do, and then I was opening up to the wrong people. You know what I mean? And then, but it caused me to be single for some years, like five plus.
But don't you think that sometimes it's best to, when you're in that place, I see it, but when you're in that place, sometimes it is just best to stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So although you waited a long time, you didn't date for a long time, but you feel like you were able to gain some type of perspective on yourself, before you get back out there.
It's when I did stop, it was like I decided not to date for like a year, and then it turned into 2 and 3. And then I kind of got into my man issues.
Are you talking about like in your early 30s?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Like 30 and to 33 or something?
I would even say 29. I mean, once I got into that age group, it's like I didn't date on purpose for a year, and then the year turned into another year and another year. But within those years, it felt like I started tapping to the pain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what prolonged it. You know what I mean? And at the time I got it because I never admitted that I was angry at men. And then because I was alone, I could now say I can't stand these people. You know what I mean? And then there was a part where I thought that I was just but in my 20s I thought because I had such bad relationships that men just didn't like me.
Yeah, well, that's easy. That's an easy.
There's just something about me that wasn't
conclusion to come to.
That just wasn't. Like this is something about me that I thought men just didn't like. You know what I mean? Like maybe I was too independent or too tough at times, And then when I got into my 30s, then I backed off.
Right.
And then I got into because I didn't date for a long time and I didn't have anybody to numb the pain. Because see, when you date, when you overlap boyfriends and girlfriends, you don't take time to feel pain.
Yeah.
Because you find someone else to help you not have to deal with that. That's why it's good to be single for a while.
Well, I feel like cause we moved to New York when we were.
I moved when I was 27.
Okay, so I was 26 then. So yeah okay. So I didn't date for a while then either. But then in New York, I dated.
You did at the end.
I ended up towards
the end.
Towards the I started to do a lot of dating and then thinking outside the box dating. So dating men that I wouldn't normally date. You know what I mean? No, kind of thinking outside the box. But even then. There's something about even when you date, you still need to be fulfilled in some way personally because then the dates are not as fun. Because it's fun, but you still have to have some type of self-confidence. And I think I wasn't understanding. Like I didn't hate men, like you were saying. I didn't have a problem. I had a problem with men, but it wasn't like a hate. It was just like I didn't understand why I was so tough on men. I was very, very tough on guys, and that was leading to me being single repeatedly. And I know what helped me, honestly, is when we talked to our father. Yeah, right. Like I realized somewhere in my 30s, I realized that my problem with men and my whole dating issue problem and my relationships and connection with men, and it really made me think about our father, and so when we contacted him, I have to say that it wasn't like completely healed immediately, but I did feel a certain sense of like a little more easy on guys. I was a little bit more like, okay, you can't be throwing getting like this with men. You have to allow them to be men. You know what I mean? I wasn't doing that. So I think it wasn't until I met or talked to our father that it made me feel better about men a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he kind
somehow made me
he kind
whole.
of expressed the way, you know, I would say this, the relationship didn't work out with my dad and me, you know what I mean? But what I will say is that he did give us the opportunity, he did give us the truth.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think in the truth, I really started to not only see how his relationship was with my mom, but really who I actually do date. And I do date some people like him.
Yeah,
and
actually, the guys I was dating in New
even when
York,
he talked about how he used to be when he was younger, I thought, God, I date men just like that. And I never met I never met my dad until really that time. You know, and all I could think is like this whole time I've been dating people like you. And how could that be?
The
you know
one
what I mean?
time I did try to explore kind of a more of a serious relationship when I was in New York. That out of all the, and I'm gonna tell you, most of the guys that I dated in New York, because I was just kind of dating, they were all, you know, they were nice men. They were all very healthy-minded men. They weren't, you know, there was nothing wrong with these guys. It just didn't work out. But the one guy that I chose to I don't know, tried to get into a serious relationship with, he was exactly like my father.
Yeah, he's also the same zodiac.
He's also the same zodiac sign. And I didn't even realize it. I was doing that. I was ignoring all the great ones, you know what I mean, and going to the one who wasn't.
And that's what
really,
I'm saying. I think that until we that's what I was saying. I think until we deal with our issues, we date them.
We do.
We date them.
And then you rush to the altar thinking that you're going to be able to heal that part of you. Through
I never met my father, really, except for one time when I was like 14. And then he wasn't there that long.
Right.
So how is it that I could date someone just like a man I don't know?
Yeah.
But you do. You know what I mean? Because you do. Because that part is
absent.
You know what I mean? But I think that, like I was saying, when I was single all that time, and I went through an anger frustration with men. Yeah. And then I went through a it went back. It somehow, this is why it's good to be, I think, good to be single. And I wouldn't have known that if I just if I didn't go through this on accident.
Right.
This is why I'm glad I'm telling people this, because you might want to do it. But it's just that I went a year without dating, and then I went 2 years without dating, and then the anger went from, because I was still getting axed out all the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just I was saying no. And there was some part when men would ask me out, I would be happy to disappoint them by saying no.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that about you.
Because I felt like I was getting back. You know, I felt like I was
sticking it to them,
for men who hurt me. And I wanted these men who were happy dating me to feel what it looks like to
That is really interesting. I had no idea.
Yeah. There would be men who would ask me out.
They would ask you out, and you would get
I would be like, no.
Some kind of high off.
I would say some kind of high of saying no.
Wow.
Isn't that awful? But
is it because you feel like you weren't, because you feel like they weren't,
it was
before they weren't really desiring you,
it was
the
empowering.
way you wanted? Yeah.
I felt like it's getting my power back. That's not the way to get your power back, by the way.
That's
to hurt
awful
people.
Way to
you know what I mean? But that's what dysfunctional people do. They don't deal with themselves, and they take it out on others. But what I will say is that this is how I'm saying, like, those little things, this whole situation in my life really changed the way I saw men, and then it changed the way I saw myself. Because after all that little anger, and then that sort of, I'm getting you back, then I started to get lonely. And then I started to realize that, you know, loneliness is a choice, but it's also, it's your behavior. You know what I mean? The reason why you couldn't find a relationship before was not because there weren't good men out there. It's because you were hurt somewhere and you didn't want to deal with it. And you put up a facade. Because like I told you earlier, I never cried. There was never a man that I ever dated, you know, or especially one that I felt that I actually cried in front of.
Right. So to this day,
even when they hurt me, even when they hurt me, I would never show them my hurt.
I mean, like, to this day.
No, my last boyfriend, he felt it.
Okay.
But because I decided to be honest. But I never was honest with men with my feelings.
Oh, okay.
I always bottled it in because I never wanted them to think they got the best of me.
Yeah.
So if they hurt me and they cheated on me or something, I would always never show it.
Yeah. I think women have women who have unresolved issues. I think that's a way. I said this before in a video before, that it's not a good idea to pretend to be tough
when you're not,
when you're actually hurt. And that's what a lot of women do, and men too. But we're women, so we're going to talk about women issues sometimes. But I think it's a big issue. Is when you're walking around here being tough. Oh, I don't care about how whatever. You know, when really you're just actually hurt. You're just prolonging, you know, your pain when you do that. It's best to just be hurt. deal with that whatever way you need to deal with that, whether it be counseling or just any way you need to deal with that and get past it so you can open up your life to men who care about you. Because I'm telling you, if you're with a man right now and he is treating you wrong, you opened something about you, open that up to invite somebody like that in. Now, that's not always pleasant to hear, right? So I know a lot of people, when I say this to women, some women, they're like, oh, no, this is mean. I'm the nicest person in the world. It's like, it's not about you being nice. It's more about you not loving who you are. And they saw it and they creeped in, and this is what they do. You know why? Because they're that way. It's like you were saying. They're like a mirror. So they do the same thing.
This was a guy, he said some of the, this was later on though, but this guy said to me, he said, some of these tough girls that walk around here and got attitude and stuff, he said, those are the main ones that assholes come looking for. Because they're the ones that no matter how much attitude they show you, they'll always be ready for more. Yeah. And he's like, and men who are low lives know that. Yeah. They know that. They know when they see a woman that's trying to be tough and cool and trying to act like nothing hurts her, they know that she is hurt deep down inside, and if you just compliment her a little bit, or just do the minimal, it only takes a little bit. That's all it'll take.
My previous self, the reason why men were treating me wrong, they scouted women like me. Yeah, I was the type of woman like, oh my God, she has low self-esteem. She has low self-esteem, low self-worth, and I can tell that from afar. I don't care how you're trying to dress it up and play it off and be hard and bad and get out your hair all good and your makeup all. They can see right. It don't matter. It does not matter. They can see right through it. And every single time, I would get into some type of ridiculous, toxic situation, and it just never ending. It just kept going and going and going and going until I was able to analyze myself on a real level. And when I say like analyze, I mean like break yourself down. Yeah. Because a lot of people they pat themselves on their own back. Like, oh, but you were still nice. You were still a good person through the whole thing. It's like, no, you really have to really do some deep, hard work on yourself in order to come off as more of an open person, you know what I mean? And that way you'll get, and positive, and that way you get more positive men back. But that's, man, if you're already treating yourself bad, they're going to know. They're going to know, and then what happens is you just settle. You find whoever says a nice thing about you. You're pretty, you're cute. Oh, you're a strong woman. So that's all they need to hear. And men know that. A lot of men that are not happy with themselves know that.
But I think after a certain point, I mean, even for me, like, I think it's just like you get tired of the pain. It's a game. Yeah. After a while, even a game with you, and you're not showing your emotions, it becomes like a game that's a waste of time, actually. And as you get older, you start to realize that, and you think, I'm sick of the pain game. Yeah. I mean, how long? When are we going to jump off this merry-go-round? You know what I mean, and just be real. And so with my last relationship, it saved me time. Right. You know what I mean, and that was the first time I ever really allowed myself to be sad. Yeah. It's the first time I ever allowed myself to be completely honest with a man, and he didn't take it that well. Yeah. And I realized that's more powerful than just acting like you're tough. It is. Yeah. It's just being honest. I'm not happy. Yeah, this isn't going anywhere, and you can't be afraid of. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm glad I didn't drag this last one out for years. No, because I would 7 months. Do that. Yeah, that's what I used to drag these toxic relationships out for years. Right. You know what I mean? And I knew that in the beginning that this person wasn't for me, right? But you try to make it fit. You know what I mean? You try to make it fit when you're, honestly, there's really another word to use, when you're desperate for like love and attention, and you just want to have a relationship. You want to, you're sick of being alone on New Year's, Valentine's Day just goes on, this same like corny things that happen in life. It means something and when you don't have anybody. Here's the thing, and I would never have known to be that way with a man. Yeah. With this last boyfriend, had I not lost everything. And this is the reason why I say like us losing, me having to start again and lose everything. I think it built some strength in me that I had to rebuild because, like I said, he was a guy that was in my life for a little while and then he came back. Right. You know what I mean? And I don't, and the way I saw, he was the same, but the way I saw him was different, and I realized it was because I was different. You saw yourself when you start working on yourself, mind, body, and soul, you start to see people for who they are, and you realize you're not here to change people. Yeah. You're here to accept people as they are, and then you can only change yourself. And whatever it is that you want, you can have. But if you truly want that, you have to go after that. No, you can't ask for less. Yeah. And you can't expect other people to change so you can get your dream. This is just who he is, bad or good. This is who he is, but what it is it's not for me.
Yeah.
So if I know that, even if we're both not saying it, but I know that,
Yeah.
then why am I still in this?
Yeah.
It have to, why am I still in this? And for me, it was because I wanted to have children.
Yeah.
I was 39 and I really wanted to have kids, and he was well off and he was doing well, and I figured this is going to be my last shot, and I had to I had to be honest with myself and say, if you never have a child in your life, you will be more happier than you will be if you have a child with this man.
Yeah.
Because he will be in your life whether you guys stay together or not, because you guys have a child together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was not enough for me. So I just said, I'm going to let God decide my fate with a family. I actually believe I'm still going to have that, but I'm not going to try to make it happen.
Right.
Because a lot of marriages are not made in God's eyes.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Just because people stand up in church and say
And
vows,
have a
don't
pastor,
let that fool you. A lot of people are marrying their issues.
Yeah.
And they get married based on making things happen with people they know they shouldn't really be with, but they're infatuated with, or they're infatuated with the life they think they're going to have if they have that person. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and don't let these people who have 10, 20, and 30-year marriages mistake you either. There are a lot of people in long marriages that hate each other or don't like each other, or are literally the Walking Dead together.
Yeah. It's only because they weren't these people individually.
Because people like to think that longevity means because they made it. Not all the time.
But
you know
it's
what I mean?
only really because people think that if you have these long relations, somehow it's you've reached some level because of wisdom in a relationship world.
No.
Because you have longevity. That's not it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But don't let things I think. When you're even dating, but you really do have to get to know who you are and get real with who you are, because if you don't, it's like you really are. It's you're gonna meet the wrong people. Yeah, you know what I mean. And with me, you're gonna meet the wrong people.
I love who I am. Yeah. I love who I am. So me,
I didn't always love who I was. No. This was not.
But what I'm gonna say is because I like my single life doesn't mean I don't want to get married. Yeah. But I do love my own company. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I had to get there. You know what I mean? And I've been single for about 3 years now. But I like my own company. And I'm glad that I do. Because if you can't be okay with yourself, then you're going to be looking for people to make you okay, so you don't have to be alone. Yeah, and you don't have to deal with things. You don't have to show up at parties alone. You don't have to do everything all by yourself.
But it's also like the whole social. Is exactly right. The whole social aspect is really like
it's intoxicating.
Yeah,
it's like a drug. Like people feel like, I can't go to this party by myself. I got to get married. I got to do this. I'm 40 years old. I want to have. It's like no,
get right with yourself.
Please,
if you're younger watching this, like if you're a younger viewer and you're watching this. 20, get right with yourself if you're not in a good place, because you're gonna save yourself so much time. You know what I mean? And it's never, obviously, and people say it's never too late. It isn't. It's never too late. Like I'm 42. I still have great dreams for myself when it comes to relationship aspect and family and all that. Anything can happen, and I love, and I have a open mind with relationships, and I'm also very what's the word? I'm healed. Right. From the man stuff. Like I'm very healed from that. So I'm no longer in a place where I'm like, all men are bad. They're being more mean. No, that wasn't the case at all. But if you're young watching this, get out of that mindset. Get out of that mindset. Figure yourself out, because you really will wake up one day and be 35, 45, 55, 65 and realize, I never had a relationship. I've always had this bad, association with relationships. So just get right with yourself. I mean, I feel
like, like all week though, I've been around people who are just in horrible relationships and really trying to make everyone think that they're not. You know what I mean? I mean, we were up this morning and we saw a couple. Yeah. Just in the hotel. They were literally screaming to the top of their lungs in their room, and then they came out and had breakfast. They came out, and mad at each other. They really did not like each other.
The air in the breakfast area was thick, man. They were not happy with each other, but they were screaming at the top of their lungs and came out act like nothing was happening to the world. Like everything's just fine and dandy. It's like
they also didn't leave together. Like she left first, and they just like. unhappy, but it seems like
they put on a
this
face,
particular guest has been here for a while, and you know, it's kind of like he shows that all the time. It's just like, you're not happy. You're flirting with other women. You got some woman here. That, you know, it's just like, it's like, what, you know, it's like, what is that? You know what I mean? It's like, don't be in relationships just so you don't have to be single.
Because your relationships, I feel like they have to be fun too.
Relationships are supposed to be so much fun.
I don't like the idea of when people are in I know someone who's in a relationship currently, and you know, she's pretending that she's literally pretending that everything is fine and dandy, but she knows that it's not. Like, she knows that it's not. It's really bad, and it makes things so boring. They don't do dates anymore. You know what I mean? Been together for years and they don't do dates anymore. They're not connected in any way. Like, when you see them together, it's just such a terrible disconnect. You know, they're husband and wife, but who would know? You know what I mean? Like, you see, like, you would never know they were husband and wife. So,
I mean, I see it. I see it all the time. I see it on Facebook. I see when people do videos. Not pictures. When people do videos, and you can just see the spouse is just like, I hate you. You know, you can see it in their, you know, in their face, because sometimes when people don't realize when they're on camera, sometimes your real face shows up and you didn't realize it. It's not like when you take pictures. You take pictures, you can be like, you know, take a picture. You know what I mean? But when the other person's talking and doing all this stuff with the camera, and you look at the other person, and they're sort of sitting there like this.
I hate you so much.
They're like, and you can tell in there, you can tell like their real feelings are happening.
It's bad.
It's just like, I don't. The one thing that makes,
I don't want that.
Right. The one thing I don't do ever anymore is forced relationships, and I mean that with friendships and any. I do not force relationships. That is the most uncomfortable thing, and I could not imagine being married to someone where we were literally forcing ourselves to be together, and then really got to try to make it look good for everyone else.
One of my most serious relationships of my earlier years, I was together for a really long time, and the first 3 years of our relationship, we were together for 5 years. First 3 years of our relationships was pretty decent. It tapered off around that third year, but the fourth and fifth year, we were basically just roommates. No one would really know. It's fake, you know what I mean? But it was really just a big fake, phony on both parts. It's like, cut your losses, y'all. Don't wait 5 years. Cut your losses.
It's like I don't want to get married. Wait this long to get married just to be in a relationship where I look at my husband like, God, I don't like you. But I guess, you know, we're over this age because we make it work. No, it's just, to me, a marriage is like everything. It's like an adventure. It's a commitment. It's a work. It's you know, it's remembering each other. It's having compassion for each other. It's lifting each other up when you can. It's, you know, being there for each other the hard times, because you know the hard times is where you learn how much you really love someone. You know what I mean? You're with this person all the time. So every time you come home, they'll be there. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? Like, you come home from a bad job that you hate, then you come home to a spouse you can't stand.
So you know the relationships as they go on, there's you know, there's like parts of a relationship where it's not all honeymoon. Well, some people I know it's a honeymoon period most of the time, but sometimes you know it tapers off. You know, you get to sizzle back into there. So I know there's parts of relationships where it does kind of die down a little bit, then it comes back, and you can figure that all out. But I honestly still want my
have you seen really old people? I
still want my husband to be whoever that is out there. I still want him to flirt with me.
I also still want to have a crush on my husband.
I want to have a crush on my husband. I want to talk. Who said that? Someone said they still have a crush on their husband.
Marcel's wife.
Marcel's
our friend
wife
Marcel. She said I have the biggest crush on my husband. I thought that was so cute, because I do think that I think that you still got to have a crush on each other. You still got to, and you know, you not only do you have to work with each other, you have to work on yourself. You can't allow yourself to just fall apart and just be a bad attitude, look bad, feel bad, spiritually be bad.
They're actually a really good example because they still have their own separate lives, but very, very much together. You know, I don't know them like I'm with them every day, but you get feelings about some people. You just get a feeling, and you know that the stuff is real. It's just some real stuff you're looking at. So you know,
I was just reading that. I was actually reading the article the other day. James Brolin was he did a magazine article about Barbra Streisand. Him and Barbra, because they've been married for now 3 decades. And he was married twice before he married her. And she was married once. And he said, I thought I would never get married again, and then I met her. And he's like, every single day. I thought it was so sweet. He said every single day. Sometimes I don't even really want to fall asleep because I feel like I don't want to miss out on seeing her.
Isn't that nice?
And they've been married for that long. He still feels that way.
That's
you know
amazing.
what I mean? And he was just like, as you get older, he even said, as you get older, because we are older, me and Barbara, he's just like, we are older. He said, and things do change, you know what I mean? We've gotten older. We're not as young and hot like we used to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? He was just like, our careers are very successful. And he's like, but it's the spending time with each other. And he said, he said, we spend every Sunday in bed. We eat, sleep, and drink in bed with our dogs, and we watch the news. And he said, we do that. We just like spending time together. We put our phones down. We don't, even with our kids, they don't have kids together, but they have, separate.
Right.
He said, even when our children, they know, don't call us on Sunday morning.
Right.
That's just a thing they do. And I think that's like date night. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what you have to do, I think, is you have to rediscover each other. Because, once you guys have kids and stuff, kids leave.
Yeah, they
But
do.
it will be you and him forever. There's nothing better than watching an 80-year-old. Remember we were in Little Italy in New York, and that old man was smacking his wife on the butt and stuff, and she was like
mildly
laughing,
annoyed, but
it was like
funny.
flirtatious cuteness. You know what I mean? And they're old. They were like 85 years old.
They were so cute.
Just living their best life, having fun, and not taking life so seriously all the time.
That Italian eatery festival they have in New York.
San Gennaro festival.
And they were so funny chasing each other around.
It was funny. You know what I mean? That's how you want to be. When I'm 85 years old, I want my husband to be smacking me on the ass and chasing me around the house. And I still want to be attracted to him,
Yeah.
Like, seriously. Like, I think that you have to rediscover each other.
Yeah. But I will say that a lot of people break up. Not even the fact they weren't wanting to try, is that they break up because they weren't even supposed to be together.
And that's another thing.
One
of the reasons I'm not really, I think it's taking me so long to get married is because I am a commitment person, and I just don't see myself divorced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why I'm so picky, because I'm like, we are in this.
Right.
I don't care if you lose I don't care if you lose all your legs.
Yeah.
And I'll be pushing you with the wheelchair. We're not breaking up. You know what I mean? If I don't care, keep it real. Even if he cheated on me.
Yeah. I mean,
we got to fix this.
You got to figure that out.
Is it me? Tell me what I got to do. Because the thing I'm saying, is it me? Is it?
Yeah.
Let's just talk about this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another thing. It's like, I don't like to. I'm not someone who always, that wants to open up all the time. Because it's hard for me. But if it's people I care about,
well, certainly if it's a relationship, if it's a marriage, you're gonna have to work at that marriage.
Marriage means something to me. Those vows mean something to me. Like,
but this is what I'm saying, though. It would be only worth you fighting that way, even in the darkest of times, like you said, infidelity or whatever it might be. It would be worth you fighting for that if you, in the beginning, it was. The match was right. You know what I mean? I think what happens is that a lot of times in the beginning of relationships, the match wasn't right, and both parties knew that, still got together. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yours would be more based on you guys both knew you were for each other. Yeah. But then something got messed up down the road. So you missed something. You should check in with your husband and your wife every once in a while, see how they're doing. How you're really doing. A little tune-up. Relationship tune-ups, I guess is what they call it. Okay, you guys, we are actually running out of time, you guys. We could probably talk about this forever.
We sure could. We can do it next again.
Yeah, we might just continue. Yeah, part 2 about relationships and dating and all that. I think we will do that next week. Yeah. But yeah, we're running out of time though right now. So thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. We would love if you would subscribe to our channel, and if you get time, go to our Facebook page and like our page. A lot of people ask what we do on Facebook page. It's really just that we do a lot of motivational, like little what's it called? Picture quotes and stuff like that.
Motivational quotes.
Yeah, just to get you going, just to get your day going. So, but if you like to, go ahead and like our page there. Thank you guys so much for the people who are subscribed. Thank you for subscribing. We upload videos every Tuesday. Usually, I don't know, at around, someone asked me this the other day. So I try to get it up before 1.
But you get up early
I'm trying to get up a little bit earlier now.
Last time I think it was the morning.
It was. So, but yeah, check us out. And
it's on Tuesday though.
It's on Tuesday. No matter what, it's
before
always
noon.
On Tuesday.
It usually is.
Right. So no matter what, it's always on Tuesday. So and we always put reminders and stuff like that. So, but yep. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next week, and everyone have a great day.
Bye.